We just talked about how these super cards from NVIDIA are expected to have been canned, like canceled. RAM prices are insane, GPU prices are insane. What sense does it make to launch more mid-tier, affordable graphics cards for consumers? By affordable, meaning relative compared to like 5080, 5090 prices, right? 5070 Ti's are already going for $800 or more. Actually, let me back up. That's what they were going for. They're going for well over 1,000 these days in certain sites. What sense would it make to launch something like a 5070 Ti Super? So with that logic, it's really weird that the rumor mill is now churning and burning over the idea of a 5090 Ti / RTX Titan.
Today's video is sponsored by Grizzly, and if you're building a custom loop, you need to check out DeltaMate, their first complete lineup of custom water cooling hardware. DeltaMate is built for uncompromising thermal performance, but what really makes it different is how much it simplifies the whole process through modularity and precision manufacturing. And instead of needing a mountain of random fittings to finish one loop, DeltaMate uses just 9 modular SKUs to create over 20 traditional configurations, so you get way more flexibility with way less hassle. Everything has a consistent outer diameter, installs cleanly with an 8mm hex key, and even includes rotatable aesthetic covers so you can keep the build looking perfect no matter how your tubing routes. And whether you're running soft or hard tubing, DeltaMate supports multiple sizes including 16mm, plus newly added 14mm hard tube and 13mm soft tube. It also comes in black and matte nickel, so it'll match pretty much any build theme. Check out Grizzly DeltaMate at the link below.
Okay, so please take this with the hugest grain of salt like that you've ever seen. Like the biggest, most giant grain of salt you can imagine. Like the size of the moon is probably the size of the salt that you should take this with. So this is like a so-and-so is reporting that so-and-so reported that so-and-so heard from a certain somebody that this is coming. So WCCF Tech reported that video cards noticed that overclocking.com said that 5 or 6 people at CES told them that this is coming. I mean, that's literally like the whole Spaceballs, brothers, uncles, cousins, former second roommate level of credibility on this one. Now, the overclocking.com site is a French site, but they only reported it because they're 5 or 6. It's funny, is it 5 or is it 6? If you have the sources, you should know if it's 5 or 6. That's the first red flag that goes up. I digress. They apparently have been told by several manufacturers, and I'm assuming these might be AIBs now at this point, which is weird because the rumor states that Q3 of 2026 that this would be coming, and I'll tell you why I find this to be just a big pile steamy horse on credibility meter, is because these 5 or 6 different companies or representatives of different companies within different countries and regions even apparently are all saying the same thing. Now I'm wondering if they all got the same information that's wrong from the same singular source, but just because 5 or 6 people are now saying it to a specific publication does not mean that that is a triangulated data. It could still be one person that spread this rumor, just kind of like the whole 5070 Ti being discontinued thing that a rogue Asus rep happened to mention to Hardware Unboxed, and then is now like backtracking saying, oh no, that's not what we meant, that's not what we said. So that's how quickly these things can really take flight when it comes to taking off. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about why people might think this is coming, why it might eventually come, but it's not coming in 2026. I can tell you that. It makes no sense whatsoever to discontinue a more consumer-friendly product, again, relative to the other products that are available. Still very expensive, but why would you discontinue the most consumer-friendly-ish product in your stack? The 70 tier has always been the more affordable, the more reasonable, just the average performer that does a great job at all titles, at all resolutions, at all settings. Why would you get rid of that in lieu for a new Halo product, which is already going through the stratosphere again on pricing? I mean, 5090 pricing has literally just looked like a freaking sine wave. It is insane, right? The other thing too that makes me feel like this is complete bullshit is one of the benefits having had relationships with these AIB brands for 14 years now, that there's one thing I've ever learned. It's a lot of the brands learn what's coming when we do. Let me backtrack and explain what I mean by that. When a brand new like card family comes out, let's just say when 50 series comes out. Actually, no, let's go back to 20 series, when RTX first came out from NVIDIA back in Cologne, Germany at Gamescom. I wasn't there, but I was talking via text in real time while Jensen was doing his keynote with various companies, and all of them were finding out what was coming at the same time. And that is a story I have heard repeatedly. Like when the 30 series launched, the same thing. I mean, in fact, I'll just say, like, EVGA told me, we learn about the new stuff when you learn about the new stuff. And it's like, how the hell are you supposed to be manufacturing in that amount of time? Now, they get maybe early board layout and stuff like that, but they don't get details on the core counts or the RAM or the speeds or the CUDA core count, any of that stuff. They don't have any of that information. But they will get early CAD designs where they can start tooling up, if you will, the PCB boards and all that sort of stuff. So it's possible that they could potentially be getting some early information regarding this, but 3 quarters early? No, not a chance, complete BS. There's absolutely no way, because even then, when they would tell me they would start to get some of the early information, it's maybe within a month of whatever the keynote is scheduled for. So that is just BS meter going off the charts. Red flag number 2 is just this timing. There's no way the AIBs would have any clue right now about any of this. Not to mention, if it is going to be a true Halo product like the RTX Titan, because the 2 SKUs that are in question here, is it going to be a 5090 Ti, which wouldn't be in the realm of impossible or improbable, improbable, not probable, disprobable, okay? It's in the realm of disprobable because this is a 3090 right here, this is a 4090, and this is a 5090. There was a 3090 Ti. And AIBs were allowed to make their own custom versions of it. In fact, the only 3090 Ti I have is a brand new Kingpin card that is basically unused. I did one video on it, boxed it back up, and then actually put it on my shelf, and it's on the Kingpin shelf. So that's the only 90 Ti there's ever been. There was a 2080 and a 2080 Ti and an RTX Titan, which was a 20 series card, but the AIBs weren't allowed to make custom Titan cards. Titan was held by NVIDIA. That was like an NVIDIA SKU and only NVIDIA manufacturing, whoever was manufacturing for NVIDIA when they did the RTX 20 series. That was all held by NVIDIA. There was no custom cards. There was no 4090 Ti or Titan in that genre, and there's no 50 series Ti currently. So it doesn't seem to me that it would be impossible for them to toy with the idea of a 5090 Ti. However, it seems more likely that they might resurrect the Titan name. That seems a little bit more like realistic to me. But now we go back to that really stinky BS meter, because again, Titan cards have always been manufactured by NVIDIA, not the AIBs. So why the hell would the AIBs know? There would be no reason for them to know, because NVIDIA would be holding those cores and, you know, doing all the manufacturing in-house, or whoever it is, that probably TSMC does their boards and stuff too. I don't know. I really don't know. I know they do the cores and stuff, but I digress. Doesn't matter. I don't feel that that's a real product that's coming. It just doesn't make sense. And if it does, then it really just solidifies how out of touch NVIDIA is that we currently believe. It would just be proof that they're that much more out of touch. If they would start using these huge yields of wafers to create a new Halo product, which, let's face it, right now, the 5090 is back up to nearly $4,000 now for regular models. It's funny because that's what the Matrix was, $39.99, sold direct by Asus, and Micro Center had some, and they weren't marked up, they were $39.99. And now you find 5090s that are like regular ass MSI or Gigabyte cards that are like $3,890. So it's kind of like, how expensive would a Ti model be? So the rumor has that they might be anywhere between $4,500 to $6,000. That's kind of insane. I don't know. I guess there's probably more deep-pocketed people than ever, because the reason why the 5090 is going up in price is because they can't keep it in stock. Whether or not the pocket are deep for gamers buying them doesn't matter. People are buying them, and that's all a company needs is incentive to make it. So I'm wondering now, if we were able to know what the actual manufacturing cost was and the wholesale pricing of, say, a 5070 Ti Super, and what the profit would have been on that. Let's say you could get 3 5070 Ti's out of the yield that a single 5090 Ti would get you, and you're gonna sell those for, I don't know, $1,100. That's like what, $3,300 or so MSRP retail. right? If you could sell one 5090 Ti for $6,000, I don't know if that's what it would be. Let's just say $4,500. That's better yield. It uses potentially less physical yield for the wafers and a lot more profit for a single card. That's one of the only reasons why I could see NVIDIA doing that, because of the fact that it shows the level of potential greed. And let's not forget, there's a reason why the NVIDIA color is green. This is not satire. This is not me just like shit all over NVIDIA because we're upset about the whole AI and open AI stuff and deals that they've made that has put huge GPU constraints on them. The name NVIDIA literally represents envy. It is named after envy. And it's green with envy. That's literally the point. Anyway, I don't think this is coming in 2026. It's potentially coming. Maybe if things ever normalize. I don't know if that's going to happen in this product cycle. We might see it in whatever the next generation of product is going to be. But don't forget, 6000 Blackwell is here. It's just it is not a consumer card. It is a prosumer card. And it doesn't mean that they might not bump up those yields even further to over 24,000 CUDA cores for something maybe just slightly below Blackwell, but higher than a 5090. Because remember, Blackwell retails for about $10,000. And then it's got 96 gigabytes of VRAM on it. 5090 is $3,000 MSRP for the Founders card. We know they're a lot more than that in real life, but it's only got 32 gigabytes of VRAM. So if you put something right in the middle, right in that $5,000 to $6,000 price point, and call it a prosumer card, every little independent LLM developer and whatnot's gonna eat that crap up until they all lose their shirts in the inevitable AI bubble burst that's coming. And I know we cannot wait to hear that. I promise you, it'll be like fucking New Year's around the tech world when that happens, except for those that are fully invested in it. But yeah, I don't really care about y'all. Sorry. All right. Anyway, there we go. Just had to talk about this because it's picking up steam really quickly. Like there's a lot of people talking about this potentially coming. I don't think anybody believes that it's coming, but it just shows how ridiculous these rumors start because of somebody knows somebody that saw somebody that overheard somebody in the bathroom stall next to them. Kind of a rumor. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. You know what? Let's make this interesting. In the comments down below, let's hear your best NVIDIA roast, and I'll pin the best one. I'll pin the one that gets the most likes. How's that? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.